True Talks, True Talks. What's hidden out of sight, I bring into the light, right down to the bone where the truth stands alone. Tell it like it is, if it's her words or his. Speak the truth, leave the rest, cause this is the place where there's no BS. True Talks, True Talks. True Talks, True Talks.
Welcome to True Talks. My name is Jasmine. Today we are talking about Circuit Youth. And what is that? My guests are going to explain. Please help me welcome Nicole, Brandon, and Alex of Circuit Youth. Welcome, guys. It's great to have you here.
Good. It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Yeah, good to be here.
Nicole, could you explain to the audience what is Circuit Youth?
Yes. Circuit Youth is a collaborative space for people to come hang out and explore their projects and ideas using tools and technologies we have on this space. We're also a place for youth to know how to succeed. We have a lot of books and mentors, and for them to follow what they truly love to do, include online and even with some workshops and programs. Things like that. So.
Yeah, essentially just a space for youth to grow and ignite their genius.
Mm-hmm. Where did this idea come from?
Well, it sort of started when, me and her were teenagers, and we'd always go walk around Ashland, find something to do, and realistically it came down to there being not much for us to do. And when there was, it was a video game store called Zeppelin's. But then that store closed down, and then it was kind of empty again, not much to do other than sit around at home all day and do much of nothing. Yeah. But then we visited San Francisco and saw a few makerspaces there and co-working spaces. Mm-hmm. And from there we just loved the energy and the totally people were there to because they wanted to work, not because they had to. Mm-hmm. So it was a totally different energy what we were used to, and we sort of just gripped onto that. And when we arrived back to Ashland, we you could continue explaining.
When we got back to Ashland, we're like, well, we gotta do it, right? And so we did. It took a while, and it's still in process, but we're doing it. So.
Where did the word Circuit Youth come from? Why that name?
Well. At first it was a test name. We're like, what do we call this idea? And we knew it had to do with youth, right? Like young people, and being connected. So we're like, circuits are connected, so why not Circuit Youth for now?
Yeah.
Right? And then that stuck to us, and we're like, that's actually a pretty good name, let's keep that. Mm-hmm. That's where it came from. Yeah, it's because circuits are always connected, and without one circuit, the other one cannot work. Right, so.
Yeah, and in a way, circuits are sort of an ecosystem, and we knew we wanted Circuit Youth to be sort of a co-collaborative where everyone had their place and everyone was doing, their part in whatever their project was, and finding ways to help one another.
Wow. So Alex, how did you meet these two beautiful young people in what they're doing?
That's an interesting story. Well, thank you for asking. Well, you see, I actually went to a series of workshops called it was called something like the Cascades Hub Not-for-Profit series, which was hosted by Donnie McClurkin at SOU in the art department. And so I went to these workshops. I actually got a scholarship for the workshops to get into there, and because I wanted to have my own nonprofit and for-profit business and organizational projects revolving around foreign languages and other subjects. So in a crowdfunding workshop he gave, I met these two, and then we just hit it off, and they told me about their Circuit Youth idea. And through that, there's a series of meetings, I just really decided that these two have lots of potential, and I wanted to join their team because they were looking for a writer for their team, and that's how I started.
That's
yes.
wonderful. So when we talked and we met yesterday, we had a lot of fun, and I want to ask a couple of the questions that I did. Starting with you, Brendan.
Yes.
What's the power and the gift that you bring to this group?
Well, I think like sort of in a way, you know, my interests are with computer technology and a lot of just like figuring out how to make things. And so originally it was just like more of a grounding idealist, like, okay, I want this, okay, I'm gonna make it. And so that kind of energy, you know, I guess is what helped get the idea into the air. And in the same sense, like whenever they, you know, Nicole and Fernanda, or you know, the three of them want to reach too high, I'm always like there, like no, wait, let's relax first and try to figure steps up to there. And so yeah.
So you keep them grounded and
Yeah.
stepping. Okay. Realistically.
Yes.
That's
Better-
wonderful.
yeah.
Yeah. And Nicole, what is your power you bring?
Well, I feel like when I go there, well, when I am in Circuit Youth, I bring also a little bit of groundness, you know, but at the same time, I also like to reach, like, you know, to the stars a little bit. So I kind of go like, no, it won't stop us, right? Let's keep doing it. Let's keep doing it. Let's keep doing it. You know, kind of like. And I also help people with figuring out what they want to do and how they can do it. You know, maybe find some resources online that I just send it to them, basically. You know, just like, hey, oh, you want to do a film? Okay, here's some tutorials. Here's what you have to do. You know, and let's keep doing, kind of keeping people on track
That's beautiful.
with it, and as well as helping people learn how to sew, because I do sewing for the Fashion Tech Club.
I know, I want to talk more about that because that was a beautiful piece I saw in there. And then Alex, what's your power and gift to the group?
My power and gift to the group is basically, yes, I also help ground the group, but like Nicole, I like to really reach for the stars. And in addition to that, I'm very much kind of the rock for the group in a way. I just kind of like, no matter what was going on with everybody else, I was always the one that would kind of just remind everyone of why they were here and remind them of their purpose and just,
Keeping us inspired.
yeah, just
Like
be
our
the
first
source
member.
of inspiration.
You know,
That's
he's kind of
great.
like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
Alex is there. We have to keep doing it, right?
Yeah,
It's a motivation.
yeah.
And in Circuit Youth, when I went to the underground and I saw the location, there were items in there that were so interesting. I want to know who made what, starting with that beautiful dress, and it reminded me of a gown, like with a long train.
Yes. So I made that for the Mini Maker Fair last year, around September, for ScienceWorks. At first it was just going to be a dress, but I was like, yeah, that's not very fun, right? And I'm really a self-taught seamstress a little bit. And so I decided, okay, I'm gonna try my best to do this, you know, thing I just drew, right? This dress. And I'm gonna put lights on it, right? So then I just did it. You know, I thought about it. I was like, okay, how can this work? And I had like 3 or 4 prototypes that just didn't work, and then I finally got it.
Are you going to expand that line, do you think?
Yes, I'm planning to do a fashion runway for the Mini Maker Fair this year. We're using like wearable technologies, you know, not only like dresses and pretty things to, you know, that look nice, but actually useful things, you know, maybe like a smart umbrella or Apple Watch is actually a wearable technology to give an idea of the broad aspect of that. So that's
Amazing.
yeah.
Now, the 3D printer, who created that?
Well,
Whose idea was it?
we didn't really create the 3D printers
Okay.
that we have. We bought them,
Okay.
right? But we bought them to make things,
What
right?
have you made? Who's
Oh, joy. I've made lots of things. I've made a case for a mini retro console that I made. Then Also, I made a fidget spinner, if you know what those are. They're like these little, like, it's like a three-sided sort of equal weights around it, and then you grab it, and there's a ball bearing in the center, so you can spin it, and it's just like a sort of in a way a stress type toy.
Is
you
that,
know,
I
like-
was going to ask if that's like a stress relief. In the
Yeah.
offices,
Yeah.
they have these, there used to be squeeze balls
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all kinds of
Yeah,
things.
so you know that was mainly just like a test to just
Okay.
push to see where. But I've also created,
Many prototypes of those.
well, yeah, a lot of different types of those, and we've created a few different things actually with the 3D.
I
printer.
created a chess set.
Oh, this one?
I saw
full chess
that.
set, yes, and then I painted it with acrylic, so it's not the ugly plastic, you know, and people love it. They go like, oh, I thought it was like a $30, you know, $40 chess set, you know, and it's like, no, we just printed it here for like $2,
That's awesome.
right,
Yeah.
worth
Yeah.
of material, and I'm also planning to use some 3D printed objects for the fashion runway because it has to do with fashion tech. So,
Now, has anyone ever done that before? I've not heard
yes,
it. Have they? Okay.
yes,
It's
there.
going to be interesting.
Even a lady made some sort of chest plate that can that changes color depending on the mood that she has, and so I got inspired by that.
There's all sorts of cool things
and
to do with it.
it's just awesome, you know. Even like jewelry, bracelets, just anything, you know, anything that you can
It's
think of,
realistically unlimited, yeah.
you can make,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yes.
I'm thinking what else we made. Oh, we made a cup for someone.
Like a drinking cup, a
Well,
coffee cup?
It was sort of like a spiral cup for putting the pretzels.
More
in.
of a pretty pencil holder.
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
classic.
Well, it's a good practice.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and some,
Yeah.
also, it's not random plastic that we just put in the world. It's all PLA, so it's biodegradable.
It's made of
It's made of
Corn.
cornstarch
Yeah.
or corn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very conscious.
And
Yeah.
so it's all good. If we just throw it away, it's like biodegradable.
Yeah, it turns back to the earth.
Yeah.
Exactly.
With the location at the underground,
Mm-hmm.
how is that going?
Well,
Well, so actually, recently we ended our 6-month lease that we had, and from there we knew we had a decision in the first place. But when trying to make a new lease with the next realtor company, we decided that to get a new space, it would sort of go, we would have to compromise our values and risk our vision in a lot of ways because we want to be in a space where it's first of all built by the community. And then we also want to be in a space where we're not working so tirelessly just to get money. We want to be able to work on programs that are either free or that can grow, so we can do them in many ways.
Exactly.
And then some of the other things that the reason why we didn't go with the realtor company is because they wanted us to take, because we are youth founded and youth run, and so they wanted adults on the LLC. Which is, that's their rules, and so we can't do much about that. So we decided that it wasn't in our best interest to move forward in that direction.
exactly. Some of our members got sad that they're like, oh, this is youth-led, and then they check the LLC and it's like, oh, I guess not, right? And we really wanted it to be like, hey, it's youth-led, trust us, basically. Also, we didn't feel comfortable with giving so much money to someone that doesn't even want to meet us.
So you've
Right?
not-
It's
never
sort
met
of
them?
like, we don't even know what.
Because it's through a realtor company,
Through a realtor
and they're meant
company.
to be a brick wall between the owner and the rentee.
It felt sort of like talking to robots a little bit.
And was the owner ever interested in meeting you?
No.
Not at all.
So yeah,
Another reason why we moved is because, as you said, it's in the underground, and we're like, we like to
We need
be
light
outside, we
and
like to see the sun, and we wanted to be a space that inspires people to go there,
Yeah.
and not a lot of people like going into a cave with office fluorescent lights, sort of.
It's not the
But-
vibe is
yeah.
very low. It is not an inspirational kind of environment.
But
so.
I am grateful to that space.
So we
Truly,
are
it's
then.
what pushed us, it's how got so many people coming, and it got a lot of people interested, we were very successful in that space.
Totally solidified the idea
Super
and,
solidified the
and
idea.
showed that there was a need for it and that there was a demand for it.
And we were actually very good, and we had the money and resources to continue the space. We were like, let's try again, right? Let's do something where our values are good, where the community helps us do it, because we know they actually want it, so why not help?
Actually,
And,
not grow again, but we want to evolve
We wanna
into something
evolve.
that could be bigger and better. So, yeah.
So how did that affect you?
How did that affect me?
Not being,
Not
not having
being-
the Circuit Youth location anymore there at Underground.
Well, at first, I had a very emotional reaction to it. And well, I was crying for hours just to get that out of my system. But now I'm not really too sad about that anymore. I'm a little sad, but I just felt like it wasn't the right space for us in the long run. Like, it was just our first space. And we're definitely going to have much more to come, another space, perhaps even more than one space in the near future. We'll see what happens. I think we just need to, I just really learned I need to let things flow, and sometimes I need to surrender and trust in whatever the outcome is going to be.
Yeah, just flow. That's a good one.
Yes.
I think a lot of us need to learn that. Yeah.
Yes, it took me a long time to learn that. I was not that way. I didn't used to be that way. I'm still kind of trying to overcome that old way where I was just kind of rigid and thought everything had to be a certain way. But Circuit Youth just opened my mind to a lot of new possibilities.
Wonderful. And you're growing.
I'm
As a
growing
human.
quite a lot, yes.
Wonderful. So when you guys make decisions, is it unanimous? What happens if
Well-
there's one that doesn't quite go as others?
The way we work with Circuit Youth is that we try to do it by circles, sort of. So firstly is the question, the need, the whatever decision we have to do. And then there's the Youth Council, which so far we're trying to expand, right? So right now it's Alex, Brendan, and I, and William, which is another one of our team members. And we do those decisions. So far we haven't had any troubles together, right? Sometimes we go like, I don't know, but then afterwards we're like, actually, yeah, you're right, right? We find a way of problem solving and all of that stuff.
And
that
we
gets
have
done.
discussions.
And we have discussions.
And you know, we're all understanding, open-minded creatures, so we're capable of changing our minds every once in a while. So that's,
yeah.
Do you
I
know how
think-
rare that is?
Yeah.
You're talking as though we all are that way. As the adult community, I have to tell you, it's not that rare
Right.
to be that. Wow.
I've noticed a little bit.
Not me,
So
right?
No.
But yeah,
like
the world,
yeah.
it's not like that in
Yeah.
the large percentage.
Totally.
It's a beautiful thing, though, creating that, so maybe it'd be more.
yeah.
Modeling
We
it.
thought that we may have that sort of troubles. That's why we have another that is an advisory council, which consists of adults, very knowledgeable adults. So if we have a problem with our marketing, we go to the marketing guy. We have a problem with crowdfunding, we go to our crowdfunding guy. We have etc. Right?
So
Et cetera,
like a
et cetera,
support
et cetera.
system.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
And basically tells us, well, your decision is good, and I think this side is right because of this logic, right? No emotional, mostly to make decisions. And that.
That's great. Who inspires you?
Who
Brendan?
inspires me?
Yeah, who inspires you to keeps you motivated in this and in life?
That's a very difficult question, but I think a good answer would be that there's a lot of people in my life who all are partially, supporting this 100%, inspiration of myself. And I think in a lot of sense her mother is, she's one of our advisors and totally on board with, like, if we have an idea, so, she's not going to discourage us in any way. So, and there's a lot of adults in my life who have this sort of sense of, even if they're not trying to intentionally inspire me, they can sometimes get the opposite effect when they try to discourage me, and they're like, that's, you shouldn't be doing that. I'm like, oh, well, that's more of a reason to do that. I can prove you wrong. And so in a lot of sense, half my own ego that's like, oh, you gotta get them, you gotta prove them wrong. But in the other half, there's a lot of mature people who I can see and be like, oh, so I'm capable. And yeah.
Where have you gone in the the community of Ashland, Medford? Where have you gone for sponsorship or mentorship? What's available?
Well, they usually come to us
Okay.
most of
There's
the
that
time.
again.
Yeah.
We
Love it.
We have some mentorships from just people going in and be like, hey, I know this skill. If you ever have someone that wants to do this, I'm willing to mentor.
Yeah.
That's how we do most of our mentorships,
But
including for ourselves, right?
But to answer the question though, in a more in sense in the way that you asked it, we're partnered with ScienceWorks as well as Village Lab and Scepter, which ScienceWorks is the science museum here in Ashland, and then Village Lab is a company moving towards to support ecological villages, and then Scepter is run by Metacurrency. Well, it's a technology company, and they're basically making new technologies, and we're looking forward into hosting a hackathon with them, which is going to be a time where we all can get together, a bunch of programmers, and make something out of it.
Yeah.
And
A lot of people, when we say hack, they're like, you're going to get into people's informations and steal it? And we're like, no. We're just going to create something new, right? Yeah, no. To make civic technologies with that new technology that we're working with. Also, the Ashland Culture of Peace Commission has really helped, and we're trying to become the youth ambassadors for that.
Youth commissioners.
Youth commissioners, yes.
Yes.
And then we're also on the Ashland Chamber of Commerce, sponsored by one of the people at the Ashland Culture of Peace Commission. She's great. That really helped us a lot. Because we noticed how the Chamber of Commerce, when you think of that, you think of like people with ties. Just like. But when we went there, it's like a family.
That's
It's
beautiful.
really
And
interesting.
it was great to join that. It was like it was so nice. It
Good.
was very nice.
There's a lot of support system out there. Do you guys see yourself gaining more financing, someone to fund you so you can continue and grow?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think in the same sense, from the way that we've been going at it, we just do our projects and we do what we want to do. And in essence, everyone kind of just comes to us, which is a really interesting thing to rely on, but that's the way it's been working for the past 6 months. So in a lot of ways, to rely on, well, I mean,
For the funding thing, we're trying to do crowdfunding, right? Explaining what we're doing. We want to do another business model because we now have the experience of what worked, what didn't work, what's happening, who do we have now that supports us. And we really want the community to step in and help us with that crowdfunding.
Yeah.
Be like, yeah, okay, you really want this idea? Let's do it. Let's fund us.
So
Right.
have you been able to do a crowdfunding campaign yet?
Yes.
We have it,
We,
yes.
we did.
When we actually originally
That's how we
launched the
started
space,
it.
Okay.
we had a Patreon campaign, which was it's a month-to-month sort of support type crowdfunding thing, and we raised over $900 on Patreon. That's how we started the space and got some of
Okay.
the tools that we did. So
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And who did
Also partly with-
the campaign? Who does? That's very tedious.
Yeah.
I've gone through that. It's tedious.
Yeah, that
It's-
was us.
it was just me and her.
Yeah, after the
realistically,
workshop
and
that where we met Alex
Yeah.
at, and we're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, let's do it.
Oh, yes, with the dog.
That's
Yep.
where it all connects.
Yeah, because a really important part of crowdfunding is that 80% of the crowdfunding will come from family and friends.
People you know.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
before we just had family, they were like, yeah, they're kids. Give it to them. Yeah, it's not that much, right? But then now the community is like, oh, cool. I want my teenager to go do that, you know, or even like college students or teenagers go like, oh, I want to do that, right? And we have a lot of teenagers and people that just go and like put just $20 into our donation box. And we're
Just
like,
to
wow,
support the space.
right? I usually never would have
We
thought of
actually,
that.
with our previous business model, we had monthly memberships, but it wasn't quite feeling right, and it didn't quite feel like what the maker culture was all about. And so we're not sure quite what we're moving into yet, but that's part of the reason why we're taking this, few
This
weeks to months to break and plan and really evolve. But because the last few months that we were open with that last space, we got a lot of our money was through a lot of our funding was through donations.
Donations.
That people just
Okay.
walk in and
Just
donate.
donations.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with the membership things, we obviously didn't kick anyone out, and we don't like that. We're not
Yeah.
like, oh, you don't have money to get a membership, bye. We don't even want you here, right? We're like, okay, it doesn't matter. If you have any other sort of value, we accept that, right? And so, and so we want to continue that sort of thing, because we notice that when you give someone something for free, they don't appreciate it as much as if it's something that is very valuable and they have to do anything.
It's
you
in a way
know,
to show the value of it.
to do it, right? Sort of like when you get a scholarship to college, it's like, wow, awesome! I worked so hard for this. Now I have it. I'm gonna put more effort in it, right?
Yeah, it keeps the integrity high.
Yes.
What are some examples of exchange of value?
To give an example, if someone comes into the space and they direct us to a sponsor, and the sponsor ends up sponsoring us, we usually give them whatever portion of that sponsorship as a monthly membership. In some ways, we've had people come in and give workshops, as Alex has, or they do mentorships, and that covers a membership. And even someone just coming in and helping us clean, sometimes we would consider value.
We also give one of our, actually William, you know, he gave some really cool books, and we're like, sure, right,
cool.
that's awesome. Or this guy that does haircuts, did Brennan's hair. He's like, we're like, what do you want?
Yeah,
and
we
he's like,
traded.
I just want a membership for my kid. And we're like, awesome, sounds good,
Yeah.
right? And that's another value that was very like, oh, cool, awesome, right?
That's great. Yeah, it's just a value, like you were saying, a value system from one individual to another, because it really changes with people what we can give in our life. Sometimes you have money, sometimes you don't.
Yeah, totally.
So in moving forward, the location isn't there. The concept is still there.
Yes.
You're going to take time off. What are you going to do? What are you going to try to create? Are you going to
Well,
think?
Well,
I've been wanting to be, well, we kind of want to be teenagers for a little tiny bit,
Okay,
you know,
that could be fun.
as well as developing a new business plan and traveling.
yeah, so like we're going to be,
Adventures.
obviously even when we're on vacation, we're going to be constantly meeting up with our team and thinking of, okay, let's plan, and we're going to do stuff, actually do a lot of work, and working pretty much maybe all summer just to try to work through a better business model, better way of funding, better way to be sustainable. And
Better budget, better everything, you know, with the mentors. We were
Better
like,
community.
Yeah.
Exactly. Follow up with everybody that said, I want to help. And we want to get a better, more awesome space that the community funded themselves to,
yeah.
which is going to be a test. I don't know.
And I do believe we're going to need to take a break. I want to continue with the youth here at my table. I want to know more about you each individually. I'm always that way. I'm curious about people, who you are as individuals, how do you come together. You've explained a lot of that, but I want you to stay with us because we're going to share more about who is Soket Youth.
True Talks, True Talks.
True Talks, True Talks.